Hey my friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. It's the end of January 2017 and it's been a very busy month. A lot of big shows, a lot of big events, and a lot of news. And that means a lot of comments from you guys out there. And so now it's time for a mowdown where I take my favorite ones, the ones that make me roll my eyes or just make me smile, and I answer them. Now, as always, this is unrehearsed. I just roll right through this, questions and answers right here. So here we go. First question is simply this. It's on the 2018 Volkswagen Tiguan. Was revealed at the Detroit Auto Show. Volkswagen's new, it's going to be their entry-level SUV, at least until their next entry-level SUV comes, placed just under the new Atlas full-size. And one of the comments is, I'd like more engine options and a manual. Well, wouldn't we all, man? And that comment, by the way, comes from Roy Pood. Look, I agree with you there. I'm right there with you, but here's the reality of things. First of all, I'd love to see a TDI. I'm one of those guys. I love the TDI engines, the diesel, but because of the Dieselgate mess, that just simply isn't going to happen, I'm afraid to say. If we see anything additional in this new Tiguan, it's probably going to be a hybrid. That's going to be my bet. At least in the interim. I don't think we're going to see a TDI anytime soon ever again, at least not here in North America. Now, manual. That's another thing that's really, for the most part, in most automotive scenes, it's gone by the wayside and it's going to continue to do so, and that's for a number of reasons, especially here in the United States. It has everything to do with the CAFE standards, the average fuel economy standards the government requires, and those keep ratcheting up, and they're going to keep ratcheting up for the next, well, till 2025, and by then I'm sure they'll rewrite the laws and they'll keep ratcheting up. And so the automatic transmission is the number one go-to way these automakers can really achieve those numbers, because it gives the computer all sorts of flexibility to actually control the engine and make sure that it's behaving, so to speak. And the other thing is, we've got auto start-stop systems coming on left and right, and that really doesn't work with a manual. And the last thing is, all these new systems that have forward emergency braking capabilities, radar cruise control, options and systems that buyers are now expecting, again, they don't work with manuals. So even Porsche, there are some models now that we don't get manuals in. So that gives you an idea where it's coming. There will be a few niche cars out there that you can still get a manual in, but it's kind of done, I hate to say. So I agree with you, mister. Next comment, Nissan V-Motion 2.0 concept car, also revealed at the Detroit Auto Show, is a concept car that shows us where Nissan's going with their next design. And in this particular case, it was a four-door sedan. Minnesota Saint says, Sam, have you heard anything about Nissan's plan for the next Z car? Is it even going to happen? Thanks for any info you can send our way. I wish I had answers for you there, because that is a car that the enthusiasts love. But the reality is I know absolutely zero, nothing that's printable. But what I can tell you is that I have talked to some people that are more in the know than I am, and I've heard the rumors that it's dead deal, that it's potentially not going to be replaced when this one finally goes out of production. And that's sad. And the thing is they do have a platform upon which they can build one, and that is the new Infiniti Q50, the coupe. That car is basically where a Z would come from, probably a shortened version of that, and it would be pretty neat, I think, with those new VR-V6s, one or both of those. So, you know, it's a possibility the car could come at some point. There is zero news out there right now that's something to really report on, other than to say I've heard rumors that it's probably a done deal. Sad though it may be. Next is the 2018 Ford Mustang first look. Ford revealed the 2018 Mustang not at the Detroit show, but after it. Ford, they've been doing some weird stuff lately with their PR, but that said, Gavin Powell asks, any news on when us Aussies will be able to get our hands on them? Good question, and basically the answer to that is the Ford Mustang for 2018, the 2018 models will start rolling off the production line late spring, early summer, sometime in midsummer, and they're expected to arrive at U.S. dealer showrooms sometime late summer, which is, it's actually a little bit later for the Mustang production cycle. So my expectation is that what Ford typically does is they tend to phase the rollout of different models, especially ones that are quite different, like the right-hand drive model that you're going to see down in Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and a couple other countries. that car because it's technically different, and especially with some of the changes this year, the new digital dash that's optional and the new automatic transmission, some of the other features that they're rolling out in the car, that's something that they're gonna get production rolling for a little while on the 2018 for everybody else, make sure they know what they're doing, and then they'll start that right-hand drive production. So my expectation would be that they'll probably roll that production out toward the end of the year rather than right at the same time. I could be wrong, but that would be a pretty good guess, which means that down there, those will be coming off the boat probably either very late in 2017 or early in 2018. So what you'll probably look for right now is toward the end of the 2017 production cycle, Ford will roll a lot of 2017s right onto the boat to send to those countries, literally, to make sure that dealerships have stock on hand until such time as that 2018 gets there. Obviously, I'm just sort of guessing in the wind based on past experience with Ford and how they do things, and that is my best answer. Next, my interview with Jim Owens from Ford Performance at Barrett-Jackson. Now, Jim Owens, I've known Jim for years. I love the guy. He used to work at Ford, then he went to Shelby when they really started ramping up production of specialty cars, and then he came back to Ford, and I've worked with him for like 10 years, and the guy is just absolutely, he lives, he breathes, his grass grows blue. His grass grows blue. I mean, he's a Ford guy through and through. That's what I'm trying to say. That I didn't mean to rhyme that. Anyway, he saved my bacon more than once, so I love when I run into him, and we've usually got a good rapport. And so I was at Barrett-Jackson. There's Jim. So I grabbed my camera. I said, hey, let's talk real fast. Very quick interview, non-rehearsed. I didn't even have time to really think of very many questions, and he was in a rush. So we did this interview, and in that, James makes a comment. Jim, he goes, oh, you know, we both fondly remember the 60s, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of went, not really, I don't. Motor City J, one of my favorite viewers out there, I love you, he says, Sam doesn't look old enough to remember the 60s fondly unless he remembers traveling down the birth canal. Thank you. 1969 I was born, and I don't remember the trip at all. There you go. Now that's all our comments, but before you go, oh wait, oh, I'm wrong. Oh, this is one of the best ones here. I must have missed it. 2017 Lincoln MKZ all-wheel drive first drive. Now I just did this is the very last video that I did on a test drive. I shut the trunk on it, it was power trunk, it came down and it jiggled a little bit when I was standing there talking. Elliot Manning says, is the power trunk supposed to shake and slam as it's closing? That would drive me nuts. Elliot, it would drive me nuts too. That was pretty rough to watch, and the video is linked down below. You can see it for yourself. But here's the thing. That was one thing I saw a couple times before I started shooting, and I thought, you know, I already get banged on hard enough for bitching about little things like that. I thought, I'm just going to let it show itself, and I'm not going to say anything about it and see if anyone notices. And you guys always notice stuff like that. So sure, yeah, I hit the power button, I let it come down and go, I jiggled all over the place when it shut like some... Anyway, it was less than impressive. So there's that. So I agree with you, Elliot, and I just thought I'd let it speak for itself and not be the guy picking on the car like journalists always do, right? So there's that. Now that is all our questions, but before you go, I want to let you know that, like I said, January was full of news. I mean, we're talking Detroit Auto Show, CES, Barrett-Jackson, and a lot of test drives, but next month in February is going to be very busy too, and I'm talking to you guys, my base subscribership, because that's mostly who watches this. Just Monday, I am going down to San Antonio, Texas. I'm going to drive the new Kia Niro, their new dedicated hybrid. I'm going to be test driving that. I'll have a test drive and a couple videos on that right probably into next week. Then, week after that, I'm going to the Chicago Auto Show, and that's going to be big because Ford is going to have some big news. In fact, they're doing a soft reveal just before the show, and it's going to be one of the vehicles we've been waiting for, and I'm talking about it's either Expedition, Bronco, or Ranger. If it's not one of those three, I'll have to do some kind of I lost the bet thing, because I think that's going to be big news no matter what it is they do. And Nissan is also going to have some big news. I expect truck news, SUV news, one or the other or both. And in fact, it's big enough that I'm going to the show to actually cover it, because a lot of times these big shows like Detroit, I did not go. I sat here in the studio and covered the news as it happened. And sometimes I can do a better coverage that way because I'm able to kick it out right there when it happens. Whereas when I go to the show, now I have to wait till I get home a couple days later before I can start trickling videos out. And so I think it's going to be worth it for Chicago to be able to, you know, wait a day or two to get the news out, because big stuff. So there's that. So click here, see our latest video, or click here and subscribe, and I'll keep you informed of our latest stuff. Either way, stay tuned.